Yeah, so no, it's good. I think with the Kainga Ora job, Kainga Ora, you guys know Kainga Ora. They've got to build 10,000 houses in Mangere for the next 10, 15 years. But the only thing is that the good thing with Kainga Ora, they're trying to pull all the local people that know about the area to help them come up with better designs, just so that you're able to. Because it's 65% of Pasifika live in Mangere. So giving them a box is not going to work because we live a little bit differently than. But so they're after those ideas that you might help them to design something that suit their cultural and modern lifestyles. But also not just for them, but it might be a new idea that non-Pacific people can enjoy and can. So that's the Kainga Ora thing that we're working through at the moment.
So how much research do they do behind the cultural aspect of it? You know how, they look at the environment and they look at our people, our sort of how we live, and they work around it. They get all this data and then we design around it. They develop a brief for us to design around that.
Yeah, and also in the past they've used Pacific and Maori architects or designers that did the don't know if you come across the Pacific design guidelines for Housing New Zealand.
Yeah.
That was done by Polisi Faumuina. That was the architect. He's still around, I think. So they've used those as guidelines to help any other designer that come along and design things. So you got to follow this template.
And does the council take that template and allocate it to certain places in Auckland?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Well, just where a high volume of Pacific people might be as well. But see, the interesting thing is I find that the Pacific and Maori, that both guidelines are almost parallel. And these are fresh ideas, it's, for example, the European model was compartmentalized of spaces using walls. Aokakola, we don't like walls. Bowl them over and open plan them. And those are the opposite of the European model versus the Pacific Maori model. And this is more modern than this one. So they opted this one as well because there's a lot of non-Maori, non-Pacific people that also enjoy open plan living.
I assume these guidelines go into the resource consent, change the resource consent around? Like part of it? Part of the resource consent?
Yeah. So Kainga Ora's got that, and they always, now we have to update it. And with fresh, so I've been called to come up with 3 typologies for medium density. And, things that I started asking Kainga was, okay, so if a Pacific Islander live on the 3rd floor, how do they get their coffin up there? Because we like our loved ones to come home.
Yeah.
So, and they're really open and they're quite fluid in their processes too. So, why don't we give them a communal space down below on the ground floor? So everybody uses that. And that was one way of doing it. What we're starting to see is out of these medium density houses, there's no wharekawali, there's no garage, there's no carport. It's all just side by side, 3 stories up. And then
like a townhouse.
Then there's a parking lot where the tenants can park their cars, which has to be quite close to. And not only that, they're trying to promote public transport in these areas too. They've got a light rail that they talked about coming through Mangere. And they're trying to get people off buying cars and reinvest back into their mortgage or their... You're right.
You see that before the bike lanes, the cycle lanes, popping up everywhere, and especially on K Road, it's now 1 lane, car lane now.
Yeah,
both ways. It's got the bike lanes on each side, and bike lanes have their own traffic lights.
That's right.
On K Road, And I think I heard Christian Marito Brown complain about, man, no one's gonna ride a bike. Go buy they can't buy a bike in South Auckland.
And not only that, how do our elders in the middle of winter when it's raining go do their whakau?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where do they park their car if you guys are assigning their car parks down there? How do they get to their spot when it's skim?
So do you think like when this kicks off and the guidelines are in, like, you're gonna see Auckland with suburbs with different housing, different styles of homes?
Well, it might not be a form response. It might be a spatial one. You know, you're just looking at spaces, but you still get a busa, you still get a box. But it might be the spaces that do something that's responsive to the way that people live. And that's what I say to them for Lily, because they said, oh, look, we don't want anything extravagant because it's expensive to build. We just keep it simple, less external and internal corners. But the only thing is, it might be a different space, different space planning of spaces. So,
wow, that sounds exciting and cool that you get to put some input in there.
Yeah, I think there's some precedences around that I really like over in Holland, out of all places, the Netherlands.
Yeah.
There's some really cool stuff happening there. And I thought it's all about pulling stuff that will work, bring it here and localize it so that our people can... Because I get shoulder tap in our community saying, Suli, the hallways to these houses are... And then they say, so how the hell do we fit in the shower that's a 900 by 900? and I said, and then I go back to Kainga and goes, hey, you know we're big people. Yeah. How do you, if you drop the fussy mori, how on earth? You get those toes when you stop.
They'll evolve. We're going to evolve. No, you know what? The awesome thing is that we've got someone there at the start. And we've got you as a voice, because, like you said, we're very fortunate that they can come to you and shoulder tap you, because who if we didn't have anyone like you there in that position, who do we go tell? Us, our parents, and that they who do they go tell? They've gotten on to no person in between, so now to have a voice or someone that understands, like as simple as that shower thing, it's my language. They might say they can,
that means we have to step out of the shower. But it's a process, and they've got their own internal politics too, which is probably why the whole thing's delayed. With my involvement anyway, it's over a year now, and we still haven't started. And then, so the thing I'm involved with is the Pasifika pilot housing. We're actually going to design the typologies, build it, and then test it in the community. And then I found out, whālongo mai lau Maori. Because, why is the Pasifika getting a pilot housing? We haven't got it. And we're te whenua.
Yeah.
So then so they're having a bit of a ding-ding at the moment, Paul out.
Yeah.
I said, well, yeah, so they should have a pilot thing too. But let me tell you something. In my research, it's almost similar the way our worldviews, because we have the same DNA. We Polynesians, we view space a little bit more different than Palalangi, ma. Kuranga wapinga.